Time now for Eyewitness News. Call 12 for action. Hospitals in Rhode Island are seeing an increase in the number of patients possibly exposed to rabies.
Now, since June, a total of 160 people have received the rabies vaccine at area hospitals. Problem solver Susan Hogan has more on what you need to know to keep your family safe.
Well, just yesterday, 4 children were treated at Hasbro Children's Hospital for possible rabies exposure. Although there have been no reported cases of rabies recently in Rhode Island, health officials are warning you right now to be on the lookout.
If you've noticed a sudden increase of bats flying around your yard, it's no coincidence. August is bat mating season, so they are out in full force. And many may burrow in your attic, so heads up, literally. Bats, according to health experts, are the only flying mammal that can carry disease, rabies being the most common.
Well, your odds of contracting rabies in the United States are actually fairly low. There are about 2 cases reported per year nationally. However, many of those cases are traced to bats. So if you have been exposed, it is worthwhile calling to speak to an expert to determine whether or not the vaccine would be indicated.
What may surprise you is the number of patients being treated for possible rabies exposure. Since June, 160 patients have received rabies vaccinations at area hospitals in the state, with the majority of those being children. Hasbro tells us in June, 26 children were treated for possible rabies exposure. In July, 36 children. And in August, so far, 33 children. And the month isn't even half over.
Most of the time, these are people that have found a bat in their home, and often were not bitten the majority of the time, but just found a bat flying around the house.
And rabies exposure does not necessarily mean you actually have to be bitten by the bat to be at risk.
The bites from the bats can be quite small and virtually imperceptible, particularly to somebody who's asleep. Also, there may have been contact with mucous membranes, for example, the eyes or the mouth, or with an open wound that could result in transmission of the virus.
Health officials warn if you come in contact with a bat, whether in your home, your yard, or through your pet, you should contact the Department of Health immediately. A health official will determine if your exposure requires a vaccination. And if you were exposed to a rabid bat and do not get vaccinated, health experts say rabies is almost always fatal.
Bottom line, tell your children if they come into contact with a bat, whether it's dead or alive, they need to tell you, and then contact the Department of Health immediately. We have all of this information for you right now on our website at WPRI.com. I'm problem solver Susan Hogan, Eyewitness News.